feel like this is a thing, and I feel like this is a thing in the future that is going to become probably more common, where top and mid laner sort of dies as a title, and it becomes more about solo laner, where players become interchangeable just based on which champions they're able to play, because ultimately League is just a knowledge-based game. It's not able to just be cemented into just an isolated role, and you just should be good at that. You should be proficient at the game itself. So seeing Keen go into mid lane here would be pretty interesting on the Akali. Like you mentioned, he's a lot better at it than Fly would be, and we'll see how Fly matches up against Kana in the top lane. But this is a very, very all-in team composition for Gumayusi to try to carry T1 with, and I think this is going to be very telling, Atlas.
It certainly is. I do like the Jarvan Galio combo. I hope that Faker and Element have been putting the time in together to make sure that they have that synergy, because it's going to be all about the Jarvan going in and then the heroic entrance over the top, giving Gumayusi all of that space to utilize all of that range. But here we are into game number 1, T1 versus Afrika. This is our second last match, and actually my final cast of the year for the LCK. Likely that I'll be back for 2021. Don't worry, guys. You are going to see me again. But yeah, my last LCK broadcast. So it's been a pleasure, LS, and looking forward to next year.
Yeah. I have 2 casts left for 2020.
Yep, you're going to be on tomorrow with the good old Val Danalist.
Yep. So we'll see how that ends up going. We'll see who is going to be in the finals versus Gen G tomorrow. Taking a look at the player runes really quickly. And we still don't have an indication yet of who is going where at this point in time. Not really any sinning happening in the runes. Absolute focus over Gathering Storm for Gumayusi on AD carry.
Interesting.
A little bit surprising there.
No surprise with the Nimbus cloak, though.
Yeah.
All right, and it is going to be the Akali in the mid lane as we expected. Pardon me. I was actually going back and thinking about it, and to be perfectly honest, Afrika don't have bad matchups either way, but Akali versus Renekton can be a little bit scary for the Akali, just with all of that early game power that Renekton has. So just picking up on building a Bramble Vest and never dying is probably a safer option, as Akali does deal pretty well with the Galio in mid lane as well, given the fact that they do get to go into that melee matchup.
And right now, Faker, he crashes first wave, goes and gets a ward on the Raptor camp. They want to know exactly where Dread is on the Hecarim at all times. And you can see what Gumayusi and Effort are doing. They're piling up 2 of the waves. They're going to wait for the 3rd wave, and then they'll crash. Now, with Caitlyn and Lux, generally a lot of players will not go for cheater recalls, especially not when you haven't dealt any damage to the opponents and you're perfectly healthy yourself. He also already has the call. So we might just see the Caitlyn and Lux try to poke underneath the turret. And you can see Jarvan, he's on the right-hand side of the map. They know where Hecarim is. And all that Elim has to do is make sure to protect Caitlyn and Lux, and a lot of damage can be dealt early on.
Yep, they're already down there. There is a ward behind T1 right now, which I don't know what that's going to mean necessarily. I don't know whether we're going to go for like level 3 teleports or anything like that from an Ornn, but that is an interesting ward placement for this stage of the game, and probably thinking about a Jarvan level 2 gank or something like that that can be set up with early wave crashes like this. As it is just going to be Rift Scuttler taken down by Elim. He's just going to be grabbing that one as soon as it spawns. There it is. And Dread is just rampaging his way through the jungle. And it's all just feeling pretty standard right now, as Faker's going for a bit of an early recall as the lane resets, but no, he's going to cancel it.
And that would have been a nice recall for Faker to actually try to take if he could have gotten it. And it looks like Jarvan's actually just going to have the better end of the jungle opening. He's going to manage to get double crab. Now, the one thing, though, is that Hecarim's camps are going to respawn sooner, and they'll be higher level. Whereas the Raptor and Golem camp, hold on, though.
Yep, nice knock up, but in goes Dread. He's looking for the knockback. He's not going to get it, though, as the rocket grab's also going to be not quite long enough. That one was buffed as well, Ben, but not able to actually line it up. And you saw exactly what Dread was trying to do, but they got double flashes, right? So still a very successful gank here for the Afrika jungler.
Yeah, and we know that this is basically a forced play out of Hecarim because he doesn't have any other options. He doesn't want to just recall and then go back into power farming. And so, seeing them lose all their summoners here, it's very painful. They have to respect the fact that Hecarim could still be here because Blitzcrank has Flash. So this could actually be very scary. They're genuinely playing with fire, but they do think that he has recalled. It would be a pretty sinful maneuver for Dread to still be here.
Oh, yeah. Although they would definitely be dead, interestingly enough.
And in top lane, Renekton, I mean, he's up 24 farm right now. Fly is just getting bulldozed. There is a giant wave in front of his turret, though, so we'll see what he's at the end of this. Dread's been spotted out yet again on a ward. Everything is very stable right now, and I love what Gumayushi is doing. He's going for the tier 2 boots, for the mobility inside of the laning phase, for spacing against Mystic and Ben, rather than just powering straight into the BF sword.
Also allows you to push the lane just that little bit faster as well, with the amount of extra auto attacks you're able to get off. So I like that as well, going for the cull at the same time that he, of course, started with. And so, yeah, pretty comfortable, all things considered. The thing I want to talk to you about is, I guess, the scaling factor between these two teams. And I'm seeing an Ornn, I'm seeing a Hecarim, and I'm thinking that Afrika is going to be pretty comfortable in the late game, but I'm seeing the team fight capability of T1 and thinking that they're also pretty happy with scaling. And you can see as these two teams are playing it out, it's been pretty cool, calm, and collected on both sides. Feels like both teams happy to play for a mid to late game style win condition.
Well, it seems as though Afrika are just waiting for the mid-game. T1, though, getting the first dragon is pretty good news for them, given the way that their team composition is going to play out. Threatening Soul Point is going to be very problematic, and given that Cloud Dragon's second, it means that we have a spicy soul. Fly, Kana's not in lethal.
No, but he does ult anyway. So Fly and Kana just going to be trading ults here. Kana will be able to swipe up this wave, and Fly is still very far behind.
He is light years behind, and the other thing is that he built a Balmy Cinder as his first item. So his itemization is going to be a little bit gimped. Hold on, we got a little bit of a trade.
That's actually the engage coming up from Ellen. Heroic Entrance going to get the knock up onto Ben, and Ben, unfortunately, did not realize that there were potentially 4 people surrounding him in that instance. So he was fishing for a hook, and instead he got caught.
I'm not sure what Afrika was doing, Alice. Down there in the river, it seems like they completely blanked that there was a Galio in the game. And that's just a very easy First Blood pickup. And pretty much all around right now, T1 are just ahead in every position. And I really like what Gumayushi's doing. Basically saying, you know what, even though we are Caitlyn and Lux and we like to push and poke and get turret plates and whatnot, they're realizing the benefit of pulling the wave and freezing it as a means to starve their opponent and cause a larger net difference between the two. And Faker is coming in there with the Galio ultimate, getting the kill.
Ooh. That was almost really cool, but didn't quite work out there for Ben. He's now waiting for another rocket grab to come back off cooldown. Afrika do finally get this wave shoved towards the turret. And the CS gap is going to be widened here in favor of Gumayushi as he clears out all of those minions with a very nice Peacemaker. And Dread looking to steal away a red buff. And should be able to do that as Element is on the other side of the map. Justice Punch, not going to find any targets there as Faker just presses his taunt button for fun.
And we can see Elam now, he's going to go over and start the Rift Herald. And he probably feels like, well, actually, no, he's just going to click. Well, yes, he is starting it. I'm not totally sure. The timing is not really aligned here, and you can see they're rotating the bot lanes now.
Yeah, it's a good knock up there from Faker, who gets a lot of control based on his Aftershock. In comes Effort. 4 members around this Rift Herald right now as the Ornn is up towards the top side, very close to having his ultimate back available. As Dread wants to come in for a steal. Light Binding is down. There is the steal away. Fly gets a great double knock up there in the backline as Effort is going to look like going down first, and it is Mystic that grabs that kill already. 2 here for Afrika, and they stole away the Rift Herald. Faker going to have to flash to get himself out of the way. Brilliant flash forward from Ben to deny the Justice Punch escape. And now Faker's just going to try and hobble his way but he's not going to get there. Death Chamber for you, my friend, and 3 kills for Afrika and Rift Herald steal.
And this is what I was just talking about, where I said the waves are not really aligned right here for T1 to go for this kind of a play. Elm, he has all of his jungle camps up. There's no reason to just randomly go for a Rift Herald. All the lanes are very stable, and the map is just stable. And they end up going for it, and they get clapped and punished. And we see this time and time again. I recently tweeted about this over the weekend, watching the LCS finals. Similar thing. It just feels like teams don't really understand what Herald ends up doing in the mass majority of cases. And here, they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. They want to help out Elm, they want to help out Kana, but the timing in this game is not aligned for a play like this in Afrika. They just capitalize and punish T1 really hard.
Yeah, it was really beautifully done. I like that Ben didn't care about his low health bar. He was stopping Faker from getting out of there no matter what. And really nice bounce back from an Afrika that, you know, were looking like they were giving away a few things. Not necessarily having the control that they really want. We do need to mention, we've been talking a lot about, you know, Gumayushi and how excited we are to see him, but Mystic is on his Ashe, and this is his pick, that he hasn't necessarily found the same level of success in this season than he's been known for, especially with his play on WE over in the LPL. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this Ashe is going to be able to do, especially now that she's claimed the CS advantage, 1-0-1, very close to Essence Reaver, a build I believe Def debuted here in the LCK and has looked like the more powerful one, especially when it comes to 2-item spikes here in the LCK. And Afrika bouncing back nicely, but still without a gold lead at this stage.
And I feel like T1, the reason that they're still retaining the gold lead even after that blunder at Rift Herald, a lot of it is due to Kana right now up in top lane with his lane kingdom that is currently present. Almost has Blade of the...
Yeah, it's a little bit of a worry because I thought Bramblevest would be coming in, but not going to happen. Mountain Drake going to be coming forward, and this is like the dream for Afrika. Both Hecarim and Ornn absolutely love this dragon, as Fly is going to get stunned.
The flip side for T1 as well, if they start stacking Mountain Drakes, Hecarim, Ornn, Akali engages, they're just going to be invalidated. Pretty much. It's going to be near impossible for their team composition to reliably take a team fight and then somehow win, especially because Renekton will eventually start getting tanky, Jarvan's already going to be tanky, Galio is tanky, all the barriers on Lux. And if her and Caitlyn become tanks as well, things become very problematic. So it's a pretty spicy dragon all around, whereas Infernal, for both parties, even if T1 hypothetically got Infernal Dragon, Afrika could still just stomp them in a very quick engage, where Infernal Soul never goes off. And has
that's a good
effectiveness.
Point. And I do like that you bring up the Lux. Shields become, of course, so much more valuable when you do get all of those defensive stats. So certainly very high value for T1 at the same time. I just can't help looking at an Ornn and then getting scared about, you know, 600 armor and things like that. Great rocket grab there onto Effort, who will have to flash, and he is going to do so, as he will eventually clear out that ward. So just the flash coming off the Lux, but that's food for the Hecarim, right? Like, I don't know what the Lux is supposed to do against Dread at that stage, as Keen, he was underneath the turret. Just having a good time by the looks of things.
And meanwhile, Kana up there in top lane, and Sunfire Cape was completed by Fly. I like that you mentioned the lack of Bramblevest actually being picked up by Ornn. There's only one thing that's inevitable in League of Legends Atlas, and that is Boris. And it's always a pleasure to show up.
Yep, he is back with a vengeance. We saw him, you know, he took a day off in a few of those days in the playoffs, but no, he's back. Afrika have wrestled themselves back a slight gold advantage, but that is not from the help of Fly, as he takes a lot of damage there underneath the turret. Does have a couple of refillable pot charges, as that's a good life binding. Combo is going to land. There's a heroic entrance. Not sure whether it was entirely necessary, but Ben is going to get knocked up right on the edge. Justice Punch going to miss as Keen is in here. Ben going to be taken down first, but Afrika not going to go for any sort of re-engage. Dread just a little bit too low. And Fly forced back to his inner turret and is going to go back home. This is an absolute disaster on the top side, and a really good re-debut here for Kana in this particular game. Mystic going to get chunked with an ace in the hole.
Fly is just getting completely dominated. Normally we don't see stuff like this happen in the LCK when it's mostly entirely being done in isolation, but this is real right now. We had well, he just dinged level 10, but we had a 2-level disparity between these two players right now. A 53 CS advantage for Kana at 14 minutes is absolutely ridiculous.
And he has the highest farm in the game as well. He's just been farming very, very well. His effort over the wall, really nice combo has been, oh, hate to see it. Unfortunately tagged by the edge.
Dread did manage to get the red buff. Unfortunately, Cataclysm does not seemingly want to take the red. As Dread is level 9, still doesn't have the Trinity Force yet. Looks like Renekton going to be moving into the Black Cleaver as his next item, most likely.
Yeah, it should be a Death Dance after that, or something like that. As Gumayushi does have his Infinity Edge already complete, but probably wants a couple of items before he's going to be all-powerful. Mystic building towards his Runar's Hurricane for item number 2, which is how this build, of course, works. As Afrika, I do like their team fight, but they haven't been able to rally quite like T1 have in these skirmishes. I feel like T1's setup around the map has been better, but Afrika, just with their composition, are going to be better with these 5v5s. His arrow is going to fly forward. It's going to be avoided, though, there by Elam, and that is going to be the second Rift Herald taken down by T1. So if at first you don't succeed, try again.
All right. Well, they do end up getting it. They're going to rotate back now into mid lane. And okay, the cannon, it is going to get capped. Caitlyn will get the cannon.
Yes.
All right, everything's safe.
Ashe will be able to get the turret, though. So there's that. Definitely good news. Mystic going to continue to power ahead. As far as that farm is concerned, it was 13, but with this wave going down, it's still going to be very, very close between the two marksmen. Keen, wonder what this build is going to be. Could, of course, be Leandri's or the Dastardly Morello, or second item, Void Star, for some reason. But that's not going to happen.
Well, Mountain Dragon is up and available. Faker's up in top lane right now, though. He might just shove out one more wave. I don't think he's waiting to complete anything. And so maybe he just shoves this wave and then starts running down. He does have his ultimate available, so it's not like he needs to use teleport to get into this fight. But if you look at the items across the board right now, it's not that bad for Afrika in this fight. This is the closest that Ornn and Renekton are probably going to be for quite some time. You can see Faker moving down now. Any sort of a phalanx angle for T1 is going to be very favorable for them.
Well, they also just want to be able to have their Gargoyle in range as T1 currently holding aggro, but Afrika do control the river right now as Shirley is going to knock down the outer turret on the bottom side of the map. You can see Afrika not really perturbed. They want to guarantee this dragon, and there's the Ornhorn. Good double knockup is going to land, and that's the rocket grab they were looking for. But Elam is immediately going to go golden. The avoidance there on the heroic entrance, though, is Faker not going to grab the highest value taunt, but there's the first kill coming through from Gumayushi. Flash forward for the light binding, but it is going to miss. Afrika do get themselves out of the way. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Both junglers are dead as the teleport comes forward. Canna trying to go 1 versus 4, and it's going to be successful as Keen is wiped from the rift. Now Mystic trying to fight this one back. Good volley. It's going to get a lot of slows, but now with that man advantage, T1 should be able to take down this Mountain Drake, and a double charge coming through for Shirley.
Double charge coming through for Shirley, and they're going to get the Mountain. They end up being victorious in that team fight as well. Being even a little bit reserved with some of their Summoner Spell usage. Faker probably could have gotten a little bit more if he elected to use Flash right away. And now this is just going to be 5 more minutes of scaling for the Caitlyn.
Yeah, this is really scary for Afrika. Let's have a look at this fight one more time.
So you can see Fly just randomly starts the Ornhorn. Dragon was nowhere near low enough for them to try to go for this play to force it so that T1 couldn't go for some sort of a smite fight or a counter engage. Dread goes in with the ultimate, but just doesn't have it. Gumayushi nets into Afrika, just barely missing the binding. Otherwise, Fly was definitely a goner there as well. Kana teleports in behind. Caitlyn ultimate comes in. Kana there with the slice and dice, able to pick up Keen. And now as everything resets, T1, they have a 2,000 gold advantage at this point in time. Caitlyn making her way towards her second item. Call was already completed.
Advantage for Mystic when it comes to items, but he does need to finish off this Infinity Edge before he gets any ornament value, which means no defensive items or anything like that, as Ace in the Hole is going to land. No way of avoiding it, of course. As, yeah, Mystic is going to be pretty killable for a lot of this game. He's got a big investment to make.
Well, Guma... Yushi here just going to shove out the mid lane, and there's just going to be a bit of downtime now, most likely. We're just going to play ping pong with all the side lanes. Faker almost has the Zanya's Hourglass complete, already has the Seekers as well as the Fiendish Codex. Kana has completed the Black Cleaver, probably move into the Death Dance next. A little bit of Boris on the table here for Fly, picking up the
he's been
Iceborne
attacked
Gauntlet.
by Boris this game. I don't know what happened.
Moly.
You know how there's just some people where they walk into a shop and the salesman just owns them, you know? Like, you're just like a little bit naive. I feel like that's Fly this game. You know, the shopkeeper was like, I know, this is the most expensive, but look at all of these extra bells and whistles that you have available to you. 20% CDR. Look at all of that extra armor you're going to pick up. And you'll have mana for days, Fly. Mana for days, as the arrow is going to be avoided with a step to the right there by Effort.
Rick,
very nicely
Boris, Harrison. Welcome to Scam Stars is basically what's going on here. So the funniest thing about the Iceborne Gauntlet, and I know that Bwippo was one of the pro players that talked about this recently, the passive that you get from Abyssal Mask, the amplified damage, just makes all of Ornn deal so much more, not even including if other teammates are in close proximity. And Ornn's Spellblade proc is not super valuable. You don't need the mana that you get from the item, and the armor resistances are not all that you need, especially because Infernal Mask gives you so much HP.
Infernal Mask is just
itself.
extraordinarily efficient stats-wise.
Yes.
Like, if you can build it, you should always build it. I don't even think you need to care about whether or not the team has magic damage. And I think, like, even for that argument, Dominus damage is enough, you know? Like, do it. You know, there's the magic damage. Don't even worry about it. But, I mean, Faker's there. He's going to be doing damage, especially to the front line. So I don't think there's any excuse to pick up the Iceborne Gauntlet this game. Like, even Locket of the Iron Solari. If you really don't want to build an Abyssal Mask, build Locket instead. I don't
Just
know.
always build Abyssal Mask. Just gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, obviously.
This is probably, if there is a Ornn game that you watch how not to play Ornn from laning phase to itemization, I think this is definitely it, out of Fly.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's having a bit of an issue. But we'll see. He is almost level 14. He's going to be able to start bestowing upgrades. And it looks like Keen is actually going for Morellonomicon, so...
Oh, no!
Yeah, you think Boris has a job, actually.
Yeah, I think Boris actually set up shop at the Freak Up Studio. Yeah. That's where he has his kiosk. It's Summoner's Rift and the Freak Up Studio. So if you're ever like watching the GSL or something like that here in Korea, guys, make sure you give a wave over to Boris. Just don't listen to a word that he says. Okay? He's a nice guy. He'll just he'll not say what you need to hear, you know? He'll say maybe what you want to hear, which is, you know, that Morello is always a good choice. And no, if you want to upgrade your Iceborne Gauntlet, that's up to you. And stuff like that. You know, you don't want to hear that heresy.
Buy my book indeed, as Mountain Drake is going to be up in 5 seconds. Faker.
Oh, good taunt there onto Keen, but Shuriken backflip comes back. Keen not going to trade back too well as good double knockup comes forward there from Fly. Arrow going to connect there onto Effort, but not much follow-up. Mystic going to flash out of the way of the final spark, and he's free hitting now. As Kana goes gold, and Gumayushi getting the damage down though. That's the double kill. Fly now in trouble, who's been completely blocked off. Gumayushi actually going to get hooked in, but that's not what they wanted because it allowed him to have better position on these auto attacks, and T1 wipe the floor with a Freaker. That's going to give him a Baron, and that should be the game.
Call an ambulance, but not for him, Atlas, is basically just happened, as T1 with really good macro here. They're going to have the Renekton solo down the Mountain Dragon while the other members go over to the Baron. And this is basically everything that you could possibly want. And with the itemization that Afrika ended up going for, they're going to stunt themselves so much. They don't have an ornament outside of Hecarim as well. Obviously, Infinity Edge is coming in next, but things are looking really lights out for Afrika here in this game number 1. Caitlyn 3-0-6 right now inside of this game. Absolutely massive. Not sure why Fly...
he almost got that steal, man.
Just turn it off.
Because he has the extra auto damage from his Iceborne Gauntlet. So he was going for the steal on the Rift Scholar. Didn't quite get there. Let's have a look at this again. This colossal failure from Afrika.
Really good exhaust by effort onto Keen, slicing his damage. And just look, there's no one that can reach Caitlyn. And so she just has the free deal in the bag. Eventually they get pulled in, Ben. He's seen better days.
Yeah. Faker played that really, really well, by the way, on the front line.
It's okay. Go slow, go slow.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Really, really good control by the Caitlyn. Mouse is very nice to watch. You can just see how he controls it. What a nice trophy.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff. Sort of reminded me, actually, of watching Ruler and his mouse control. And that is definitely a compliment to the young AD carry out of T1. Ruler, it's almost superhuman watching him utilize his mouse. As T1, they are just looking to try and put this game to bed. Currently close to an 8,000 gold lead. They have Soul Point and it's Mountain Soul as well. As now Afrika looking to try and cut them off, but it is going to be a 5v5. And Afrika say, well, we don't have very much money. As Ace in the Hole comes down, a lot of damage there onto Keen. That is like 2 abilities. There's the Cataclysm. Heroic Entrance going to come down as well. And Final Spark going to help take down the Ashe. Somehow Gumiyushi is the one that's able to do it. Kanna there with his Dominus still running, just looking to try and utilize it somewhere. But I have a feeling that this game is well and truly over. And Afrika, unfortunately, just too far behind.
Yeah, I mean, everything is just going so well for T1 in this opening series. They're up 8,000 gold here. Sieging now the bottom tier 3 turret, and with Afrika's comp being the way that it is, the double mountain on the side of T1, there's no way to threaten this Caitlyn. I feel like it's looking pretty grim here for Afrika in game number 1. These situations that would have to unfold for them to come back is super unrealistic.
Yeah, this is very, very tough. Also, you know, luxury Guardian Angel coming through from Kanna as well, so his ability to disrupt the front line is going to be even more difficult. Gumiyushi has the most eclectic collection of items I've seen for a while, but no, he's going to make that Storm Razor complete. Wanted to get through some of these heavy armor targets. And that's why the Last Whisper was completed. But this was just the Cataclysmic Entrance. And no way for Afrika to do anything. The Wombo too strong. As Arrow is not going to find the mark there, but Kanna is likely to fall. Gonna take Dread with him, though, as he gets back to this minion wave. Hook is going to go wide, as Kanna's pretty fast, but he will be slowed down. There's the knockup. Guardian Angel gonna be popped. Faker gonna be coming in here as Ellen finds the backside, and they took too long to take down the Crocodile. Mystic gonna be taken out. The Croc eventually falls, but T1 now in position to try and fight the flash forward, the life binding. It will be Fly falling down as Ben's going to get knocked up as well. Ellen playing very beautifully right now as Keen looking to try and find his way forward. Life binding doesn't connect. Neither does the Justice Punch, but there's the double kill for Gumiyushi. And T1 playing with their food, smacking them with their wallet. As we've called this game over a few times, just taking T1 a little while to put the last nail in this coffin.
And it looks like this is going to be the final siege for what is gonna be the end of game number 1. You can see T1 are threatening the turrets right now. Towers are gonna be very quick to fall here.
Yeah, as Caitlyn does a hell of a lot of damage.
What Dread in front? No, they're losing some of the minions though, so we'll see what ends up happening. Kanna doesn't have teleport, and T1's actually gonna be repelled.
Yeah, well, I mean, repelled or they've got a lot of money and they want to spend it. The Mountain Drake is going to be coming back up again in 20 seconds time. As Dread definitely wanting to stop some of these backs, does so with a Rampage as Gumiyushi's going to get out of that brush. And oh my god. Okay, Ellen. That was definitely ballsy. as Faker looking to try and steal away this blue buff. 5 seconds on the Mountain Drake as Dread looks for the gargoyle, but the horse is going to not be as amazing as you want. That's a 1,000 damage crit as Gumayushi's going to steal away the blue, sets up his wall of traps. And yeah, Dread's not going to be able to get in here, so this will just be Mountain Soul as we predicted. Helm over to the side, not going to be able to get any knockups, but there is the Cataclysm onto Dread. Ultimate is going to be able to get him out of there, but now it's not going to be used in the fight. Oh my god, Gumayushi just pops clean. Decent knock up there from Fly, but unfortunately just has nothing else that he can really offer. Faker's going to get rid of Mystic. A double kill now as he gets rid of the entire bottom lane. And Fly is going to go golden. And the Peacemaker was funny, but I think that the auto attacks do more damage here out of the Caitlyn. And now T1 are going to win the game. LS, I've said it 4 times. Maybe I'll be right this time.
Well, Faker and Hecarim here. Dread gonna have a little bit of a fight. Oh,
yep,
okay,
looks
that's
like
just,
a little bit of tilt.
And that's gonna be it for game number 1 between T1 and Afrika, and the lineup looking really good.
And when it comes to debut games, you'd say 9-0-8's pretty good. You know? I reckon you'd be pretty happy with that one. Very nicely done from Gumayushi. He is, of course, playing the coveted Caitlyn, a very, very strong pick.
Dobrý den.
Kolik...